I could cross an ocean so I wouldn't drown. I've never been more loved than I am right now. You are Jireh. You are enough. Jireh. You are enough. And I will be content in every circumstance. Jireh, you are enough. Holy Spirit, I ask you for you to have your will and have your way in this video. I simply ask you to remove me and just do what only you can. Hi friend, welcome back to my channel. From Ariani with love, I am Ari, very happy to see you today. And today I brought you something that the Lord has shared with me in the secret place, and it is coming out of John 15 when it speaks of Jesus being the true vine. You're probably wondering what happened. We went to my apostle's birthday party, which was amazing. Happy birthday to him. Today was the day that he met Jesus, and it was a splendid celebration. We got to dress up, and I simply had to bring this word to you before I go to bed, like almost every other video. So I hope you stay tuned. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Thank you for your encouraging messages. I just pray that the Lord continues to use me as his willing vessel and simply having his will and having his way in my life. If you need any prayers, you could drop it down in the comments down below. I would be more than happy to pray for you. Thank you so much for joining the fam. I love you with the love of the Lord and also from a little big heart. So John 15 was given to me March 31st, 2025. And this has been one of the chapters I have studied, but every single time that you study the Word of God, usually you receive new insight. So it says in verse 7, "But if you remain in me and my words remain in you, you may ask for anything you want and it will be granted." He kept ministering this word to me because he says, "But if you remain in me and my words remain in you," so if you stay true to him and his words remain in you, the words that you read from the Bible, the promises that he has spoken over your life, the warnings that he has given you over your life, if you apply this word to your life and you keep those words within you, in your mind and in your heart, he says that you may ask for anything you want and it will be granted. And you know why he says that? It's because when we have him in our heart, when we have his words in our life, when we are applying his word each and every day, we learn how to pray and we learn how to ask for things under the will of the Father for our lives. It's not about our desires, it's about what he wills for us. And it's always so important to have that in our lives, to have that operating in our lives, because it is absolutely, it's astonishing. It's honestly astonishing to see how these words apply to each and every single day. When that negative thought rises up against you, you always have something to counteract it with, especially when it comes to the word. You may receive a thought that says you are not enough, but the Lord tells you, "I made you enough." He tells you, "I made you to be the head and not the tail." If you were the tail, then you wouldn't be enough. But if you are the head, you are the one that's leading the way. You are the one that is on top. That's who he created you to be. If that word remains in you, when the lies of the enemy that tell you you're worthless rise up, it's not going to work. It's not going to work because you are connected to the true vine. You are connected to the one that gives you the nutrients that you need to keep living and keep pushing through. See, in verse 1, it says, "I am the true grapevine, and my Father is the gardener." So Jesus is the grapevine, and God is the gardener. He says he cuts off every branch of mine that doesn't produce fruit, and he prunes the branches that do bear fruit so they will produce even more. Let me find the definition of pruning. Pruning meaning. So if Jesus is the vine, we are his branches. And he says, he cuts off every branch of mine that doesn't produce fruit. So if you are connected to Jesus and you are not producing fruit, if an apple tree produces apples and a mango tree produces mangoes, why would you be a pineapple tree producing plums? It doesn't work that way, does it? So if you are his child and you are supposed to be his reflection, then the fruit that he speaks of is who you are, who you portray to be. Are you loving? Are you kind? Are you peaceful? Do you portray the fruits of the Spirit that flow from Him when you are connected to Him? See, if an apple tree gives apples and a mango tree gives mangoes, then you, as a child of God, are supposed to produce the fruits of the Spirit that flow from God. You cannot have those fruits flowing from you if you are not connected to the vine. So the Father has to cut those branches off, the branches that are giving no fruit. See, pruning refers to the activity of cutting off branches from a tree, bush, or plant. It is done to encourage growth, improve strength, and remove unnecessary parts. And he says it here, and he prunes the branches that do bear fruit so they will produce even more. So, as you are connected to Jesus, as you deepen your journey with him, as you continue moving forward with him, the Lord will prune you. What does pruning mean? It means he will cut off branches that do not serve you. It is to encourage your growth, it is to improve your strength, and it is to remove unnecessary parts from you. The Lord wants to make sure that you are a pure reflection of Jesus, and this does not happen overnight. When you are connected to the true vine, you will go through seasons and it is going to hurt. It is going to hurt to let go of the things that you used to do in the past. It is going to hurt to let go of the things you used to be in the past. It is going to hurt when you have to let go of the mentality you had in the past. That's why pruning is important. Because as you stop telling yourself, I am worthless, and you start telling yourself, I am worthy, you are letting go of something that's unnecessary in your mind. When you start noticing that getting irate, getting angry, getting mad does not solve anything, and you start looking for solutions instead of staying stuck on the problem, that's when you realize you're experiencing growth. When you are in a position where you are exposed to a situation that would have triggered you before, that's when you realize, wow, I have come a long way. I can tell you this because I've been there. I've seen myself operate in these situations, and I'm like, wow, God, you are amazing because you have changed me. And it says that it improves your strength. There are situations that you face that instead of you crumbling, you actually get the strength to keep pushing forward. When you see things start shaking, when you see things start changing, when you see things aren't working, that's when you push. I used to be the person that when I saw something not working, I would say, okay, fine, no, it's not working. Now that I walk with the Lord and I see something not working, I say, all right, this is definitely the way I'm supposed to go because I am experiencing resistance. And if I am experiencing resistance, that means that I'm exactly where I need to be. If I'm experiencing resistance, that means the enemy is up against me and I simply have to push. Because if I push and I trust that the Lord has gone before me and he has fought my battles and I'm walking into victory, then I'm going to continue pushing. I'm going to continue believing because I have walked through this road a long time and this is not the hill where I'm going to die on. I'm going to continue going. It doesn't matter if I'm going to go through the valley, I'm going to come right back up to the mountaintop, because that's the God that I serve. That is the God that I serve. So I am grateful when he removes those unnecessary parts, and we have to be willing to be pruned. We have to be willing to resist the pruning herb. Resist? No, we're not resisting the pruning. We're resisting the devil. We have to be able to endure the pruning. That's a better word. We have to be able to endure the pruning, because we want to make sure that all of those things that do not belong within us do not stay. We want to make sure that everything flows as smoothly as it can. And I can testify and tell you that ever since I have been walking in his hand, he has never failed me yet. Even when I have made mistakes, he has been merciful enough to allow me to not get completely lost or feel ashamed or feel like down or depressed for a very long time. Yes, I'm going to feel bad, but he will allow me to rectify it and he will bring me back. That's because I am connected to the true vine. That's because I have to go through these seasons. I have to go through these processes. I have to go through these pruning sessions so that he can remove what's unnecessary, so that he can improve my strength, and he can encourage me to continue growing, because in God there is always more. The more that you see, the more that you find. The more that you see, the more that you want. The more that you learn, the more that there is to learn. It is a never ending cycle of I want more. And it is the most amazing thing, because when you seek more in him, it's not that you're seeking because you're empty inside. It's not that you're seeking because you're seeking something outside of yourself, or you're seeking it to fill something in you. It's because you're already full. And he is so huge. He is limitless. He is abundant. He is everything, that it will never be enough. And the more that you experience his presence and the more that you experience his glory, the more that you want. And that's what he wants from us. To want him for who he is, to want him as our father, to want him as our friend, to want to experience and have that communion with him each and every single day. That is why it's so important for us to be branches that are connected to the true vine, not be the branches that are going to get cut off. Because listen to what happens to the branches that are cut off. First, I'm going to read verse 3, and it says, "You have already been pruned and purified by the message I have given you." This is Jesus talking to his people. This is Jesus talking to the people that are truly connected to him. That it says his message has pruned and purified them. The word prunes and purifies you, and it gives you the strategy that you need to face every single day. The Lord speaks through his word. He speaks through dreams. He speaks through visions. He speaks audibly. He speaks. You have to be willing to listen. 4 says, "Remain in me and I will remain in you." That is part of what I wanted to share with you as well. That has been something I have been repeating to myself over and over and over again ever since he gave me this message on the 31st of March. Remain in me and I will remain in you. And remaining in him means being in his word. Remaining in him means being in communion with him. What is being in communion with him? Talking to him every single second of the day, asking him what you should do, asking him where you should go, asking him how he wants to glorify himself in you on that very day. Communicate with him. Even when he doesn't respond, even when it feels like he's not listening, simply communicate with him. Tell him about your day. Tell him about how you feel. Tell him about that situation at work. Tell him about that problem with your friend. Start talking to him and you will see how things start shifting around. Start placing everything in his hand and you will see how things start shifting around. It says, "For a branch cannot produce fruit if it is severed from the vine, and you cannot be fruitful unless you remain in me." So if my only chance of being fruitful is remaining in him, I rather do that time and time again than be completely cut off from the branch or from the vine. I can't afford to be disconnected from the vine. I cannot afford to be disconnected from Jesus. If my life requires, or the success in my life requires me to be connected to him, then that's what I have to do. And this video is a part of that, because we were doing a video, we were on live on Facebook, and the Lord kept pushing me. He's like, you have to go, you have to go, you have to go, you have to go. And I'm like, but I don't want to leave this video yet. And he's like, you have to go. There's somebody that's going to watch this either right now or is going to watch it later that really, really needs it. And I pray that the Lord ministers to you, that your heart is open, that you could receive his word, and that his word will remain in you. That his word will remain in you, and that you may know that you are a branch that is connected to the vine, that you will not allow anything to remove you from that place, because many times the enemy will come and attack us and tell us, look at you believing for something that isn't even going to happen. Look at you believing for something that simply is nothing's moving. Why do you think it's going to happen? God lied to you. God is not a man to lie. And he is not a man to change his word either, because he doesn't change his mind. He doesn't change his word at all. You may have to change his strategy, but his word never changes. So keep that in mind. It says, yes, I am the vine, you are the branches. Those who remain in me and I in them will produce much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. If you can do nothing apart from Jesus, if you can do absolutely nothing, you can't even breathe properly apart from Jesus, why would you want to be outside of him? Why would you want to go and pursue a plan that was never meant for your life? Why would you want to go and pursue a business that was never meant for your life? Why will you go and pursue something that never belonged to you in the first place? That is how most people fail, because they're not patient enough to wait on the Lord, and then they're not willing to do what the Lord wants them to do. It is not easy. It is pretty simple, but it is not easy. Apart from love, what do you mean? So he says, anyone who does not remain in me is thrown away. Listen, anyone who does not remain in me is thrown away like a useless branch and withers. So if apart from him you can't do anything, and anyone who doesn't remain in him is actually thrown away, then what are we doing? He's telling us right here that our life is found in him. So why is it that we're so willing to simply let go? Why is it that we're so willing to follow through with whatever our heart wants, whatever our mind wants, and we're completely disconnected from him? We were actually talking about love, Chris. We were talking about love on the Facebook Live I've mentioned, but I had to come here talking about the vine. So, uh, him being the vine, us being the branches. But that was basically it. It says, such branches are gathered into a pile to be burned. Why does he say such branches are gathered into a pile to be burned? Because where do you go when you're not following Jesus? Where do you go when you don't have Jesus in your life? Where do you go when you have not accepted him and gotten your salvation? Where do you go when you're not living your life according to his word? And I am not talking about religion. I am not talking about the laws of man. I'm talking about what he has told you to do. I'm talking about you being in obedience. He is saying right here that the branches that do not remain in him are thrown away, that they are useless. They're like a useless branch and withers. They're thrown away because they're no good. Such branches are gathered into a pile to be burned. Why would you want to be burned? Because the branches is talking about us, the people. He is the vine. We are connected to him. As his children, we're supposed to be producing the fruit that the Spirit allows us to produce. We cannot continue walking through life being completely blind to what the Father is trying to do. The time is coming to an end. Everything is coming to a close. He needs for the people that he called in this season to rise up. He needs for the people that he called to start speaking the truth and not allow the enemy to continue to silence them, because time and time again, that's all the enemy wants us to do. And sometimes it's us ourselves doing the devil's work in our lives. We silence ourselves because we feel like it's not enough or it's not going to change something. And it does. What you have to say matters as long as it is rooted in truth and as long as you're doing what he sent you to do. Because if he sent you, he's going to make sure that he provides for you, and he's going to make sure that he confirms it every single time. So don't shy away from what you're called to. Don't shy away from remaining in him. Don't shy away from having that communion with him. Don't shy away from a relationship with God. Even if it means that you have to walk away from everything else, it will just be for a season, because he will remove every unnecessary thing that doesn't belong in your life, but he will put everything that is necessary. And necessary doesn't mean that you're going to like it. Necessary doesn't mean that you're going to agree with it. Necessary doesn't mean that it's going to be everything that you want and everything that you desire, but it's going to be exactly what you need. It's going to be exactly what he called you to. It's going to be exactly what you need in that moment. So don't shy away from obedience. Don't shy away from doing the things the way that he told you to. And I push it and I push it and I push it, because I have done the things in a way that he didn't call me to, or he didn't call me to do it in that way. I have not responded in the way I should have. And it has cost me something. Every single time that you disobey, regardless of how small it is, it costs you something. It costs you from being connected to the vine. It costs you from being connected to the Lord. It costs you from being connected to Jesus. So show up and do it right. And if you've made many mistakes up until now, forgive yourself. Because sometimes the hardest thing to do is to forgive ourselves. You are a branch. You are a branch connected to the vine. The vine is Jesus. You are the branch. Don't let the Father cut you off simply because you're not producing fruit. Be willing to produce fruit. Be willing to receive help from the Holy Spirit. Be willing to receive help from the people that will help you run. Be willing to receive constructive criticism. Be willing to receive honesty in truth and in love. For perfect love casted out all fear. Be willing to change and be transformed by the renewal of your mind, by the teaching of other people. Be willing to congregate yourself at a church that feeds you, that feeds your spirit. You have to be in communion with people, because you will not be able to grow on your own. There's many people that say, I'm good on my own. No, what you are is crazy, because nobody can do this thing on their own. If you're doing it on your own strength, you're doing it all wrong, because eventually none of that is going to matter, because the Lord does not like people that are prideful or filled of ego. They're going to go through a very hard process and a very hard awakening that I wish that upon no one. So I pray that this has blessed you, that this has transformed you, that this has changed you in some way or form, and that you could share it with someone that you know is going to need this word, and that you know it's going to help. So I pray that the Lord blesses you, that he keeps you, that his face shines upon you, and that he's gracious to you, and that he grants you peace. If you're going to sleep, good night. If you have just woken up, good morning, sunshine. If you're having some food, I hope that food is yummy. And if you have not liked, shared, and subscribed, I pray that you go ahead and do that. Join the fam. I can only pray in being more consistent, and then not only pray about it, but actually put it into action. So I pray that you put into action what the Lord has been speaking to you. I almost lost my little pen, but yeah. Bye, friend. And now I can't end it. There we go.